Okay, good morning, everybody. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Tuesday, January 18th Board of Control meeting. Dale Miller. Here. Nan Baker. Trevor McAllister serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Catherine Takacic.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is a review of the minutes from January 10th. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Is there any public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment. Let's move on to our first item, please.
First item, BC 2022-37, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Integrated Precision Systems Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $7,457.72 for a state contract purchase of equipment, installation, and programming services of a Galaxy control panel at Courthouse Square for the Public Defender's Office, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Janelle Green, Department of IT. This item is to purchase and install some equipment to secure two doors and secure access to the space in the Courthouse Square building as occupied by the public defender. This is a state contract purchase and one of the lowest prices available.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item? Yes, Councilwoman, please.
Is there security there now? Or is this something new?
This is something new.
It is.
This would be to tighten up more security that they have. They have some limited access that they need to tighten up from the rest of the building. There's a lot of different functions that are being served there, and they wanted to make sure they had access. This will be key card access for employees to go through that part of the building.
Okay, so as of now, those two doors do not have secure access, and this from here on out they will.
I believe it's keyed, but yes, this will be more secure, and you can also verify who comes in and out of the building. So it'll be tied in with our badging system.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-38, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to MNJ Technologies Direct Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $63,440 for a state contract purchase of 40 additional HP ZBook Firefly G8 mobile workstations and related accessories, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Janelle Green, Department of IT. This item is to allow for our help desk to have some backstock of laptops as we get new employees in or laptops are broken or anything like that. This will allow us to easily swap out or fulfill orders so employees will be able to either start working or continue working on county projects.
Thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-39, Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, recommending awards and enter into agreements with various municipalities in the total amount not to exceed $14,800 for community diversion program services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, with the City of North Royalton in the amount not to exceed $8,400, with City of Olmsted Falls in the amount not to exceed $1,200, with City of University Heights in the amount not to exceed $4,800, and with the Village of Bentleyville in the amount not to exceed $400.
Good morning, Tamika Ballard with Juvenile Court. These are cities that are part of our community diversion program, and this program is designed to keep our youth away from official court involvement. There's going to be more forthcoming, but we are paying for this out of our Title IV funds, and the reason why they are late are because we actually had to wait for some of the cities and villages to get pre-approvals and signatures prior to us being able to get our contract signed over. So apologies for the delay.
Okay, thank you, Tamika. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-40, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending to amend Board Approval Number BC 2021-230, dated May 17th, 2021, which made an award on a purchase order to Argus Group Holding, doing business as Premier Safety, for one replacement chemical gas detection system for the Cuyahoga County Type 1 Hazardous Materials Team by changing the amount from $103,713.37 to $103,885.71.
Good morning. This is Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And the purchase order that was generated from the system that was sent to this vendor had instructed the vendor to prepay and add shipping charges, which was discovered at the point that they invoiced us for those charges. This was a system anomaly, and even OPD said that the PO should not have done that. When we were facing the issue, we did confer with purchasing, who said it was okay to add the shipping line, even though it was not originally included in the original bid, but they indicated we needed to bring it back to the Board of Control for approval. As this is grant funded, we made Ohio EMA aware of the issue, and they agreed to the additional budget for this expense. The expense is only for shipping, and given the size of the equipment that was shipped, we did feel that the cost was reasonable.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-41, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council in the amount not to exceed $36,400 for programming and repair services of portable and mobile radios used by the Office of Emergency Management for the period January 18th, 2022 through January 17th, 2025.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn again, and as the description read, this is programming and repair of the portable and mobile radios that are used by emergency management, both on a day-to-day basis as well as the cash radios that they use when they are activated. We did solicit quotes on this, and Chagrin Valley was the vendor who submitted the lowest cost quote.
Thank you again, Mary Beth. Questions from the board on this item? Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
So I read in the backup that this project is new to the county.
Correct.
So how is that? What did we do before this?
Before we actually employed a position that provided this service, but when that individual resigned, we decided that it would actually be better just to outsource this and repurpose. This was only one part. The work that the person was doing, the person who was replacing that, we did a staff reassignment, and the person who was taking on that additional task does not have the ability to do the programming and repair. The fact of the matter is programming and repair is, unless you have a huge operation, it isn't something you normally would do in-house. It just happened to be a skill that the other person had and was actually willing to do while he was working. But any other place that I've been, and I've been doing this for 30 years, you don't really have somebody in-house doing this unless you have a huge radio system like Cleveland does.
Okay, that's good background. Is the 36,400, that's for a period of, is it 3 years?
That's correct, and that's an up to amount. It will, that's assuming that we have to do some extensive programming, that we have to do some out of the normal repair type of work. So that's a maximum that we would be paying. It's not actually a fixed $12,000 a year.
Okay, so this is an on-call if needed contract.
We're going to pay a base amount of maintenance, but then there are other services that we don't anticipate needing all the time that we will only repay for on an as-needed basis, and we will simply reimburse the fees that we will pay Chagrin Valley for those services are fixed.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that information. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely.
Mhm.
Any final questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item, please.
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2022-42, Prosecutor's Office submitting an amendment to a contract with Gene by Gene Limited for forensic genetic genealogy DNA analysis and searching services in connection with the fiscal year 2019 Bureau of Justice Assistance Sexual Assault Kit Initiative Grant Program for the period August 17, 2020 through August 16, 2023, to expand the scope of services for research and analysis of 10 additional unsolved sexual assault cases, effective upon contract signature of all parties, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $40,000.
Morning, it's Mary Weston from the County Prosecutor's Office. We are requesting approval to an amendment to our existing contract with Gene by Gene, which is our genealogy vendor. We have an existing contract with Gene by Gene by which they worked on 20 cases, and we are now seeking to send them an additional 10 cases. This funding will come from our federal grant fund under the Department of Justice's Sexual Assault Kit Initiative. With this additional funding of $40,000, we hope to send an additional 10 cases to Gene by Gene to obtain leads into the identities of these perpetrators.
Hey, thank you, Mary. Are there questions from the board on this item? There are no questions. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to exemptions.
Next item, BC 2022-43, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Co-File Technologies Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $3,264,300 for a cloud-based record management system and support and maintenance services for the Fiscal Department Transfer and Recording Division, commencing upon contract signature of all parties for a period of 5 years.
Janelle Green, Department of IT. As Sharon stated, this is an item on behalf that we process on behalf of the Fiscal Department and Transfer and Reporting Division. This item exemption that we're requesting is to utilize the GSA pricing, which was a discounted rate that we received. Brian O'Malley can speak to the selection process for this vendor and how they are moving forward. And so I'll toss this over to Brian for subsequent comments.
Good morning. Yes, this is Brian O'Malley. Yeah, our current system doc recorder was left over from the old elected recorder in 2005. It's long past since its end of life, and it actually became more urgent when we upgraded our computers to 64-bit machines, because the only version IT was able to get to work was an original one. So we've already lost significant functionality. So I contacted the head of the Ohio Recorders Association, and there are 5 vendors that provide software to most of the recorders in the state of Ohio. Co-File is the largest share, including Franklin County, of 36. And they were the only one that checked every box. They have an e-recording system that allow law firms and title companies to e-record in real time. Most of the other ones would have to build it out. They're also going to guarantee indexing of every document within 24 hours and with a 99% accuracy.
Okay, Brian, hang tight. Are there questions from the board? Councilwoman Baker.
This will.
Just a quick question. So the transition from the old equipment to the new.
Massively increase our efficiency
So
I'm sorry, broke up a little bit.
I was just saying the transition from going from one type of equipment to another, is it seamless? Is there issues of transferring from the old to a new?
Yes, we already purchased new, because the label printers and receipt printers and our scanners were already old. So we ordered new ones last year. So all of our equipment is ready for the software transition.
Okay. Because sometimes when you go from old to new, there's glitches that one doesn't conform to the next. We've seen that quite a bit here. But you're confident that you're prepared and this should be a seamless process going from one to the other.
Yes, the company has said 90 to 120 day go live. So which will help eventually. As I said, the system we have now is literally on its last legs, and so there's the dire concern that if it were to crash, that it would be catastrophic because I have no way to record documents.
Right. Good. Okay. Thank you for your answer.
Councilman Miller?
Is there any relationship or interface between this system and the Harris system that's currently being installed?
Yes, CoFile is going included in this price. CoFile is going to write an API to link that data to tie our data into the Harris system. So all transfer and recording information will seamlessly feed into the Harris product.
What's an API?
An application program interface. So it's basically just a way to link and then also when we eventually get a new appraisal system, they will also provide a link to that.
Okay, thank you.
Any final questions from the board? Yes, Councilwoman.
So it's stated here that this is a 5-year. What happens after 5 years? Is this how long? What's the life of this new?
There's a renewal clause for an additional 5 after that.
And is
with I think it was a 4% increase, I think, for the second 5, I believe.
And what is the typical life expectancy? That's now we're in 10 years. Would you be looking again after 10 years for an update?
Well, that's the advantage of this is because it's a cloud-based system. We're going to instead of having an on-prem system where we'd obviously have to constantly pick it up, we will seamlessly get all updates. So as the company improves their product, we're the first to get it. It also, from several counties recorders have been victims of ransomware. We'll have an identical system in Microsoft's cloud, so one on one coast and one on the other. So if anything were to ever happen, they flip a switch and we're never down ever. So our entire 15 terabyte history of the county will be in 2 separate places.
Those are absolutes. Wow, never. And
I know, I don't like that word never,
yeah.
but
that's
the
pretty
goal is there's
reassuring.
backup. I mean, the bottom line
Yes,
is.
definitely don't jinx that.
Yeah.
Ever and never. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad that you have the confidence in this equipment. It looks like we're good to go.
Yeah. Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next
Thank you.
item.
Next item, BC 2022-44, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, recommending an alternative procurement process which will result in award recommendations on requisition 7099 for the 2021 Emergency Solutions Grant, utilizing an alternative funding source in the total amount not to exceed $84,900 for various services for the period January 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2022, with Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless in the amount not to exceed $30,500 for seasonal street outreach services, and with Westside Catholic Center in the amount not to exceed $54,400 for seasonal day shelter services.
Good morning, Paul Porter, Health and Human Services. On behalf of the Office of Homeless Services, we're asking for approval of an alternative procurement so we can use HHS levy funds in order to award additional funds to vendors that we plan to fund through the Emergency Solutions Grant. The Emergency Solutions Grant is federal funding for homeless services, and we did an RFP for that in 2021. So we got proposals from both NEOC and Westside Catholic Center for the programs that we want to fund just a few months ago. And our request is that you approve us to be able to award contracts with HHS levy funding so we don't have to require NEOC and Westside Catholic Center to go through a whole new proposal submission process, since these are identical programs to what we're going to fund them for under the Emergency Solutions Grant. So after this is approved, if it's approved, we would come back with contracts for funds in these amounts.
Thank you, Paul. Are there questions from the board on this item?
Just one.
Yes, please.
Just for clarification, this is for 8 months?
Correct, Councilwoman Baker. This would be for January 1st of this year to August 31st of this year. And we would have the potential to extend it by amendment. And the reason we're using the 8/31 date is that kind of lines up with the current end date of the ESG contracts we're putting into place, so that these would be lined up with those. The federal funds for the ESG contracts, I believe, are 9/1/21 to 8/31/22. And we're working through the last few kinks with those contracts to get them to come before the board. Yeah, I know we got final approval on those last week, so we're working on getting those into Infor now. So you should see those in a couple of weeks.
If I may,
Please.
is there a reason why we call it seasonal street outreach? I mean, I don't see really a season in here. Is that just?
Sure, I can get specific information from Office of Homeless Services about that, but I know that a lot of the work MEOC does is concentrated on making sure, especially in cold weather,
Right.
folks aren't stuck, out on the streets, and they're able to help connect folks with shelter services. So my goal is, or the goal with this is to be able to continue funding those programs. The reason, again, for the dates on these are to line up with the federal funding cycle. It's not necessarily saying that, services are provided year round. I can get more information from Office of Homeless Services on that one in particular, as well as Westside Catholic Center, about the exact date that services are typically provided, if that would be helpful.
I guess I would assume, I don't really know, but it sounds like it would be the rest of January, February, March. Most of these funds would probably be used, and not so much for the spring and summer.
Sure, I would say that generally that's true, but again, I don't want to make kind of a broad proclamation on that, and I would prefer to verify that with Office of Homeless Services and then follow up with you if that's okay.
That's sure. Thank you. I appreciate it, Paul.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Miller, please.
Are we funding these through the emergency solutions or through the HHS levy because we desire to fund more services than we have money available from the emergency solutions grant, or is there some other reason?
My understanding is we wanted to add additional funds to be able to further support these projects through the Emergency Solutions Grant as well as through HHS. But I think an answer to your question is a yes, Councilman Miller.
Okay, thank you. Certainly in the COVID environment, the services are needed.
Sure. Okay, seeing no further questions, I will make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Yes, we are on consent items BC 2022-45 through 47.
Hey, board members, let me know if you have any question on any of these items.
Hi, good morning. This is Vaughn Johnson, Department of Development.
Okay.
BC 2022-47. Skill Up is a reimbursement of training costs, not the purchase of services.
Vaughn?
So, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, hold on. I don't think we have questions yet.
Yeah, hang tight, Vaughn.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hang tight for
All
1
right,
second.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just excited.
Like the enthusiasm, that's good. Board members, do we have a question for any of these items, especially 47?
Mr. Chair, since Vaughn offered, could he talk a little bit about what training was done in terms of the Skill Up program for graceful living?
My understanding is that there was one individual that was trained, and I'm going to defer to my colleague, Sarah Sandella, I believe is on the line for the specific type of training, or I can either come back to this group if that's okay.
If she's on, let's hear her. Yeah, please.
Sure.
Sure. This particular trainee is training in adult CPR and first aid, including passenger assistance, safety, and sensitivity for transportation and defensive driving.
And sir, did the employee then receive a higher wage after this training?
The training is currently in process. They should, pending the completion of the training, successful completion.
Do we know what it's going from to?
Yes. The trainee is starting at 8:50 and is ending at 10.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board members, do we have any questions on any of the other consent agenda items before us? Do we need more time? Good. Okay, I will therefore make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second? Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Today's consent agenda is approved. Moving on to other business.
We have one-time sensitive mission critical, BC 2022-48, Department of Public Works, recommending an award on a purchase order to Nature's Alpine Solutions in the amount not to exceed $23,032.92 for the purchase of 4,404 gallons of runway de-icing solution for the county airport.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you. This is a request of approval of mission critical that we authorized. It was director approved in mid to end of November. It was on a Friday afternoon. There was a pending snowstorm going to be hitting the Northeast Ohio, specifically the east side that weekend. So we needed to get this mission critical authorized for 4,400 gallons of runway de-icer to fill up our tanks at the airport. As of that day, because it was November, there was only an estimated 700 or so gallons left. So with the pending weather, we needed to issue this mission critical, which we had authorized and the material delivered.
Okay. Tom, I'm assuming you're using it now, today and yesterday, so that's a good sign.
Yes.
Okay. Are there questions from the board on this item? Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
Just curious, given this is the first snowstorm and we're already needing more, did we not plan on needing more for this winter, or why is it that you're asking?
So this includes, this isn't just for snow, this is for ice as well. And, you know, with the location, airport being on the east side, they've had a little bit more snow than even downtown Cleveland. So, you know, back in November, we had an estimated 700 gallons, but there was a pending snowstorm. They were forecasting 6 to 12 inches that particular weekend. So we didn't want to come through, you know, Sunday afternoon or Monday and there's none left and we have to shut the airport down. So this is being proactive to make sure that the airport has what they need to maintain their operations. So this is the first snowstorm, but there has been other uses at the airport. I'm not an expert in runway de-icer by no means, but you know, this just any type of flurry or type of rain mixture freezes to utilize this de-icing.
Will this 4,400 gallons get us through then in your estimate for the rest of the season?
I'm going to guess no. We do have a pending PO that'll be coming forward any week now that was competitively bid out, and it's going to go to the same vendor.
Okay.
In years past, we've had where one of these POs gets us through the entire winter, but it's one of those that you have to stay on top of it proactively.
So you anticipate you'll be back for what, another 4,000 gallons?
Yes, there'll be another PO. Now, whether we'll go through the entire 4,000 gallons or not, but it'll be a not to exceed purchase order that'll be coming for the board for as needed. I don't know how much is left in that tank. It is only a 4,400 gallon tank or 4,500 gallon tank, which is not that large. But the PO to be coming forward would take us through the end of the year if we even need it.
Any concern of having access to the supply, being able to get it?
We have not heard anything regarding this. As far as any supply chain issues, we have not heard anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Miller.
So, how long does the de-icer last? If you don't use it all this season, can you carry it over to next season?
I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not an expert, but we have in the past. So,
Yes.
if we get through this weekend, and there's no more snow for the rest of the year, which keep our fingers crossed. They don't drain the tanks. They will continue to use it next year and top it off.
This is Nicole. Yeah, it's still good next year. I mean, it stays in the tank.
And when you buy the de-icer, does the price depend on how much you buy? Do you get a better price if you buy more, or is that not much of a factor?
I have not seen any type of factor. They do have minimum requirements. So if we want to go out and purchase 500 gallons, typically vendors won't make that trip. They will not come out for small tanks. They want a full shipment.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Any final questions on this item from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval. I will second that item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to any other business?
Yes, we have a project update from the Department of Development. They will be updating on the grant award to Project Boron LLC for the construction of a cold storage facility on the Opportunity Corridor Roadway.
Good morning, Paul Herdig with the Department of Development. Just as a quick refresher, this board authorized a $500,000 economic development grant to this project. There was at that time a need of $2.5 million additional grant funding, and I've been updating the board weekly on the progress of securing that funding. As of today, I talked this morning both with Bryce Sylvester at Team NEO and with Tracy Nichols, who's representing the developers in the project. They're still working to secure the last of the $2.5 million. The challenge has been that the Jobs Ohio program could not provide the full $2.5 million just based on getting the land ready. And so they're now working to get the rest of the $2.5 million based on projected job creation. I'm told that they've taken a second and final extension of their deadline date to sign the construction contract. So that work is still ongoing to try to secure the Jobs Ohio funding. I'm also told by Bryce Sylvester that the type of funding they're seeking is one that can be decided very quickly. And so we expect that within the next week, and I'll be happy to come back and brief the board next week, but we expect within this week or the next week at the latest, reaching success on getting the full $2.5 million that's needed.
Okay, thank you for the update. Are there any questions? Councilman Miller, please.
What's the updated last and final date for the construction contract?
Councilman, I don't have that information, but I can find that out and pass that on to the board.
Okay, thank you. And I would request an additional update next week.
Another update for next week, please, on the calendar. Okay, Mr. Mackler.
Paul, I have to say, when it was presented to the Board of Control and even in our discussions, it was basically said if it's not approved by the county by such and such a date, everything was going to fall apart. And now, magically the date can move. That is a little frustrating because of the pressure put on the Board of Control and even some council members that all of a sudden the date can move because. And 3 weeks ago, it was the deal's gonna fall apart, it'll never happen. That's just, I don't think that's necessarily fair to the Board of Control.
Thank you, Trevor. And if I might add just a little bit of color here, you know, I know Tracy, who served both as our development director and as the city's development director, has a degree of skill here and also some relationships that I believe have made it possible to get the further extension that I do not think was easy to get. I also know that the funding they're seeking from Jobs Ohio is not one that's routinely given as well. So there is a great deal of honestly cliffhanging going on here. And I am told that the project is by no means a sure thing, and that a lot of people are applying quite a bit of effort and diligence to try to get to save this project. It would be unfortunate if it were to collapse, but we did not anticipate it was going to go on this long. We certainly are all hopeful it will come to a successful conclusion.
Paul, I appreciate the feedback. I mean, I would just say in the future, right, when the same thing, right, this isn't the first time where we've been told something has to get done or things won't happen. I just think when things like this happen, it might put further discussions on other projects in a more difficult position, because we clearly see, deadlines can be moved. So I just would caution how we kind of approached this one a couple weeks ago, because we see what happened now. So, I mean, I would just would caution how we proceed on other projects moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, please, one more. Go
So Paul, did you say that you don't know when the new deadline is? I mean, that seems to be a pretty significant.
I did not ask Tracy for that date, but as I indicated, I will get that date and forward it to the board members, and today, and it will not wait for next week.
Okay.
We'll provide that today.
I would think that it would be fairly like a week away. I mean, I don't think, it sounds like deadlines have been pushed to the max, and this is something that can't go another month. I mean, I would think they're either going to do it or they're not. Is that kind of the, or no, or it could be a very long extended deadline?
Thank you, Councilman. I don't believe that anyone's giving a long time. It has to do with the uncertainty about the price of steel. And there was already difficulty getting it to be extended at all past the original deadline, which was December 30th. I'm also told that one of the principals involved is very close to backing out of this deal if it's not resolved soon. So there's a great deal of pressure from a number of quarters to get this resolved very quickly.
Okay, good. Well, good luck, and we look forward to your next report.
Okay, Mr. Mackler has a question too, Paul. Go ahead.
Paul, and I apologize if you said this. Was some of the 2.5 committed? Do we have some of the 2.5?
Yes, a very substantial part of it was offered by Jobs Ohio under the Ohio Site Improvement Program, which looks at the land, and it is not close enough to 2.5 for the developer Weston to be willing to absorb the differences go forward, which is why they're seeking to fill that gap and get either right to the 2.5 or closer to the 2.5.
Are we able to say how close we are?
2 million. 2 million was offered. That's the maximum under the Ohio Site Improvement Program.
Okay, so we're missing the 500,000.
Correct.
Board members, good.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank
you for the update. We'll look forward to the next one. Any other business?
No other business?
No other business. Any public comment?
No public comment.
I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.